Well, hi folks, welcome to Matrix Uploaded, welcome to Mathematical Literacy. I always say to students, Maths Lit is the most wonderful subject on this planet because it teaches you life skills, it teaches you real world applications of mathematics, stuff that you need when you start your own business one day, things that people who just do maths don't always know. And I always say, who are the guys that are doing Maths Lit? It's the Donald Trumps, the Bill Gates, the Patrice Mitsipis. These guys, they're the ones who are doing Maths Lit. They are applying maths in the real world. And guess what? You do Maths Lit, you probably become one of the wealthy ones in this country. But anyway, we're going to do some amazing mathematics today in this episode of Maths Lit. Here we go. Let's have a look what we're going to do today. We're going to recap on profit. Okay. Typical exam questions come up, and this is very easy work. Okay, now have a look. What do we know about profit? Okay, if a business is talking about profit, we know that you get expenses. A company has expenses, but it also has income. Now, your profit is made when your income, the money your business makes, is more than your expenses. Expenses are the costs that the company will have in creating a business. So profit is really the income minus the expenses. Of course, there's a problem if your income is less than your expenses, because then you're losing out, you're losing profit, and the business can go bankrupt. They always say that in South Africa, 8 out of 10 businesses go bankrupt, okay, because people are not following proper procedure. Okay, so only 2 out of 10 make it. You've got to get your profit up. Okay, so let's explore this a little bit. Okay, Derek has a stall at a flea market and he laminates A3 posters. Okay, so he's got posters and he's going to laminate them. Let's put plastic or kind of a plastic stuff on the posters. The stall costs him 3,000 Rand per month. That's his expenses. And each poster costs him 5 Rand to laminate. He charges 30 Rand per poster. Now remember, his expenses would be the 3,000 Rand plus the 5 Rand that costs to make the poster. But of course, he's going to charge 30 Rand per poster and hopefully sell a lot, because if he sells a lot, then he's going to increase his income. And of course, if his income is bigger than his expenses, he's going to make a profit and hopefully do very well. Okay, let's have a look. The first thing is, what are his fixed expenses? Okay, what are the things that it's going to cost him in the business? Well, the one is the 3,000 Rand for the rental that he pays, for the hire of the stall. Okay, 3,000 Rand per month. Okay, what are his variable expenses? The variable expenses are things that vary, that change. Okay, what would they be? Have a look. 5 Rand per poster. Okay, so it varies on the number of posters that he creates. Okay, good stuff. Let's move on. Now the next question says, write down an equation for the expenses. Well, let's see what this is about. Well, the expense equation would be 3,000, that's fixed, okay, plus 5 times the number of posters that he makes. Okay, so if he makes 2 posters, it's going to be 5 times 2 is 10 Rand, the expense on creating the posters. But of course, he's got his fixed expenses per month. Okay, so what does this tell us? Well, we can call the number of posters N, or you can say 5N. 5 times N is 5N, and N represents the number of posters. And we have an equation that enables us to calculate his expenses, every single month as we go along. Okay, look at the next one. Write down an equation for his income. Well, I is 30 Rand times the number of posters, which is 30N, or I equals 30 times N, or I equals 30N, where N is the number of posters. Okay, that's the good part. That's the money he's creating. All business needs to create an income. Okay, time is money in the game of business. Okay, so let's continue. It says there, complete the following table for his expenses and income. Now we're going to look, say he's got no posters. Then he might have 50, 100, 150. Okay, now let's see. If we look at this, okay, for no posters, well, the number of posters is 0, so he's just going to have to pay the rental, 3,000. For 50 posters, let's substitute in. Look here, your n becomes 50. 3,000 plus 5 times 50 gives you 3,250. Okay, what about 100 posters? Well, 3,000 plus 5 times 100 is 3,500. Easy to work out on a calculator. 150 posters. 3,000 plus 5 times 150, giving you this. So these are all the 3,000, 3,250, 3,500, and 3,750 would be the expenses incurred. Okay, as the number of posters are created, increases. Okay, let's put it in a table. There's all the values in the table. Okay, and what do we know? The income. Now, what about the income as we create the number of posters? Let's see what happens. Well, for naught posters, we get 30 times naught. He's not going to make any money. No posters, no money. Okay, all right. 50 posters, he's going to make himself 30 times 50, which is 1,500 Rand. Okay, 100 posters, well, what would that be? That's going to be 30 times 100, which is 3,000. And 150 posters, you substitute into that and get 4,500. Now we've got 0, 1, 5, 0, 0, 3,000, 4,500, and we slot them in there. Now we've got a table of things that are going to help us when we do this thing. Now people, it's so important to be able to get the equation of expenses of income. And remember this, profit is your income, the money you make minus your expenses. You've got to make sure that your income is more than your expenses. Normally what happens in business is you start off with a lot of expenses, okay, and then you have less income. But eventually you get to a break-even point where your expenses equal your income you obtained. And that is what we need to explore in the next lesson. So don't go away, Maths Lits dudes. We'll be back soon for some more lovely Maths Lits. Stay with us.